In this class we're going to look at the problem of plagiarism. Unfortunately, this is a problem that plagues a lot of education, and it simply revolves around the issue of students copying work directly from textbooks and journals and from their colleagues and from sources perhaps at other universities or other colleges, and then pretending it's their own work. So we're really looking here at cheating. Now, the definition of plagiarism, well, it involves taking another person's ideas and then representing them as your own. The fraudulence is closely related to forgery and piracy practices. So the fraudulence is quite severe. It's quite nasty. These are generally in violation of copyright laws. Now, what I've taken here is based on dictionary.com, but the ideas that are expressed here, I think, clearly summarize the issue. It's taking material and passing it off as your own when in fact it belongs to someone else. In the case of doubt, or in any case of doubt, a tutor should be consulted. When a student has got a problem as to whether to reference some material or use some material, if there is real doubt, then consult the tutor. The tutor is the expert and who will give a fair opinion. In general, plagiarism is seen as serious, and it can lead to expulsion from the course in many colleges and universities. Indeed, having graduated, let's say a student gets a degree and subsequently it's found that the student had plagiarized some work earlier, the degree may be taken back, in which case the student has spent many years working for a qualification and get nothing. So plagiarism is a real big issue. Tutors and colleges take plagiarism seriously, and it is important to avoid all suspicion of cheating. At diploma and degree level study, the student may be required to produce ideas and work that belongs to the student alone. This is usually in the form of projects or dissertations or a thesis or some sort of work which requires independent study. And this is where plagiarism rears its head. This is where plagiarism comes into play a lot of the time. The student is asked to work on his or her own, and the student goes off and looks for a similar piece of work that's been done by someone else and then tries to use that. That's plagiarism. Plagiarized, or if you like copied work, does not reflect the student's own work. That's the whole point. The student is getting marks for something that he or she has not done. So it's cheating. It shows the student to be a dishonest person. They've taken work belonging to someone else and they're pretending it's their own. Students should produce their own ideas based on reading and research. That's what education is about. Plagiarism does not show work on the part of the student. It shows the student's ability to take work, but not actually to produce it. Words copied directly, word for word, must be put into quotation marks and referenced. Excuse me. So it is legitimate to produce work belonging to someone else, but they must be credited for it. Put it into inverted commas and reference it. If it's not referenced, it's plagiarized. It is recommended that for short quotations taken word for word, that quotation marks should be used. So for short expressions or short pieces of work taken, use quotation marks. For example, inflation is always and everywhere a monetary phenomenon. Now that's taken from a monetary history of the United States, 1867 to 1960. It was written by Milton Friedman and Anna Schwartz, who were at Princeton University Press, published it in 1963. So there's a source for it. It may still be used, the quotation still may be used, but it's just been referenced. For longer quotes, the entire passage may be indented. For example, economics is a science that studies human behavior as a relationship between ends and scarce means which have alternative uses. And the source there is Robbins' Lectures in Political Economy, 1933. So it's a longer quotation, so it's indented to show that it's taken from someplace else, or from someone else. The sources of information should always be shown. They must always be shown. However, points of general knowledge do not require reference. If it is general knowledge, then they don't need a reference. Every effort should be made to ensure that the readers understand the statement as general knowledge. So general knowledge doesn't have to be a reference, it's general knowledge. The use of references shows research and openness, and therefore use of references is to be encouraged. And without references, the work lacks credibility. Therefore, verbatim, in other words, word for word, usage of material should be referenced and the original sources cited. So the original sources should be cited or should be credited. Original sources should be shown. So whenever it's word for word, whenever it's verbatim, put it in inverted commas and give the source. Paraphrasing is a problem that's best avoided. Paraphrasing means changing the originals around. Well, it depends, I suppose, the extent to which they're changed around. If they're changed around radically, so it's a completely new slant on the topic, a new idea based on the original one, that may be acceptable. But generally speaking, it's best to avoid paraphrasing, because the original idea is still there. And the original idea belonged to somebody else. It didn't belong to the person using it. Despite using your own words, the ideas are not yours and should be credited also. Now, the advantages of using your own words. Well, this avoids referencing problems and the possibility of being accused of plagiarism. So try to use your own words wherever possible. Don't use other people's words. Don't take it from books or journals or magazines or whatever. The writer will develop a good writing style if he or she uses his or her own words. So a good writing style will develop. It's important to develop a personal writing style that will be with you throughout your life. So it's good practice. And tutors need to see the writer's own ideas are not the ideas straight from the recommended text or similar or a similar course. So it's important that the tutors understand that the work is original. The words are original. It's not been taken from a textbook or from some other source. Another advantage of using your own words is that learning and understanding require the writer to show a mastery of the material and be able to explain it clearly and fully. So using your own words means you must understand the material, otherwise you can't explain it fully. You can't explain it in writing. So using your own words develops that skill, develops the skill of understanding, of analyzing the text that you're reading, understanding it completely and then writing it in your own words. So writing in your own words will force you to show this clearly. Now, in summary, plagiarism is a big issue for colleges and universities. Putting it simply, it means the students are cheating. The students are, the possible use of sources for cheating purposes are used by some students. Now, that means that the qualification has been cheated. So students who have worked hard and honestly to get the qualification are being cheated by students who have taken the material. And employers are being cheated because people are presenting themselves for jobs saying they've got qualifications and they studied certain subjects and got certain grades, when in fact they cheated. So colleges and universities have stamped down on this. In fact, there is very sophisticated software to help colleges and universities to detect plagiarized work. It's very sophisticated and it's been used widely. And it does trace a lot of plagiarized work. And as well as that, staff at colleges and universities are intelligent people. They sometimes detect when a piece of work has been plagiarized, and they may follow it up. And the punishment for plagiarizing is severe. The student may be expelled from the college, but the student may also be blacklisted. If another college approaches the college for a reference for the student, the college would say that he or she was expelled because of cheating, because of plagiarism. It really does not make any sense to plagiarize. But unfortunately, it happens. That's all I'm going to say on this topic, so I'm going to leave it at that. It is an issue, it's a problem that students need to be aware of, and the students should develop good practice by referencing, putting information in inverted commas, giving the sources, and say using the Harvard referencing system extensively, and writing the work in their own words. If these things are done, there is no problem. Plagiarism only applies to students who want to cheat. That's all I'm going to say on this topic, so let's leave it at that and say thank you for watching.